Hello everyone, welcome back to the session. So in this session, we will learn about the Maya shader and the photorealistic shader in Maya application, how we can generate the photorealistic output in Maya software with the help of some of the Maya Material shader or the Arnold shader. So before start the shading, we should know about the Hypershade window. Shading networks are built as nodes that control a specific aspect of shading effect. These networks define how various color and texture nodes work with associated light and surface. The placement of the texture on surface is also controlled by the node within the network. There are several ways of viewing shading network in Maya. The Hypershade window lets you easily connect node and view the connected attribute. You can also double-click on any node to open the attribute editor. Accordingly, you can change or modify the parameter of the shader. Along the way, you can zoom it out the Hypershade window to get the complete picture. You can also view the shading network in the hypergraph window, but this view doesn't give you the swatch images. Types of shader. There are majorly 5 types of shaders we use into the Maya application: Lambert, Fong, Fongy, Blend, Ramp shader. There are 2 more shaders usually sometimes we use in Maya application. First is the background shader and second is the layer shader. Now one on one we will discuss about each and every shaders, where and when we have to use these shaders. So we will start with the Lambert. This material type or this shader type is the most basic and it doesn't include any property of specularity. This makes it perfect for matte surface that do not reflect the surrounding environment. The Lambert shader type can be transparent and will refract in ray trace rendering also, but without specularity. Wood, glass, this could be some example of the Lambert shader or the Lambert material. Fong shader. Usually we use Fong shader to add sharp specular highlight to the Lambert material. The size and the intensity of highlights are controlled by the cosine power attribute or the property. This shader can also have reflection from either environment map or the ray trace reflection. The Fong material is really very good for plastics, so any kind of plastic material, plastic object we have to create in 3D application, we can assign the Fong shader into it. Fongy shader. Fongy shader types add a different type of specular highlight to the Lambert. The Fongy shader includes attribute or the property such as roughness that control the softness of the highlight, whiteness, that color intensity, highlight size we can increase with the help of their parameter. We can use the Fongy shader for glass. We can use the Fongy shader for making any kind of highly reflective surface. After Fongy shader, we have one more shader here. Usually we prefer this shader for making any kind of shiny objects. Blend material or the blend shader. Many artists use this material type exclusively because it offers high quality of specular highlight using the attribute such as eccentricity or the specular roll-off. This material type can be edited to look like a Fong material also, which has a sharper highlight. In case where you need better anti-aliasing of highlights during an animation, this material would be really very good material or the shader. We can use blend material for the metallic surface also. Ramp shader. This shader gives you the extra control over the way color changes with light and the view angle. You can simulate a variety of exotic material and tweak traditional shading in subtle ways. All the color related attributes in ramp shader are controlled by ramps only. After ramp, we have a shader called the layer shader. So a layer shader allows you to combine 2 or more material or the multiple material that each have their own quality, own property. Each material can be designed separately, then it connected to the layer shader. The top layer transparency can be adjusted or mapped to reveal part of the layer below. Layer shader render more slowly than other material. Instead, using the layer shader, it may better to set up a regular material node that use a layer texture node map to the color. A specular and diffuse map can create the appearance of variation in this material quality of the surface. At the end of the shader, we have one more shader here called the use background shader. Usually we use background shader in a compositing pipeline. The use background shader is primarily meant for the combining CG and the live action component. This material is assigned to a stand in geometry that represents surface and the object in the live action plate. This material then casts shadow and the reflection from the object into the scene. Many of the diagrams in this session or in these sections would be rendered with the help of background shader. In upcoming classes, in compositing classes, we can use the background shader also to compose it, to add 3D model into the live footage also. Now let's move to the Maya application, and here we will see how we can use these all shader in particular models.